Welcome. This video is to provide you an overview of the discussions the Finance Committee of District 89 had over the last few months, and we'll go through a presentation made to the PTCs. In this video, we'll walk you through the slides discussed with the local PTCs to discuss the district structural deficit and the challenges ahead for the district in addressing that deficit. I'm Mike Lullo. I'm a resident of District 89 and one of the co-leaders of the Finance and Community Engagement Committees here for District 89. I'm also a parent in the district with children at both Glencrest and Westfield schools.
And I'm Steve Neurauter. I also live in the district, and I have children at Arborview and Parkview, and I'm the other co-leader of this committee.
We'll talk about the district's past efforts to cut costs, the options explored by the Finance Committee, and the current work and next steps. The current reality is the district is operating at a deficit budget. Currently, the district's expenditures exceed revenues in the current year by about $1 million. As the district looks out over the next 5 fiscal years, the deficit ranges from $750,000 a year to $1.5 million a year. As a result, the District 89 Board put together a Finance Committee composed of parents, residents, board members, and staff. It was tasked with finding ways to address the structural deficit issue. This slide shows the annual financial projections for the school district over the next 5 years and includes the current year, 2018. As you can see, in each of the years presented, total expenditures are higher than total revenue, resulting in that annual deficit that I talked about, and you can see those numbers in the circled red numbers in the middle of the page. As a result of those annual deficits that we just talked about, as projected on this slide, the school district's fund balance continues to decline. Now, I know this is a confusing slide, so let me walk you through this. The red line in this slide reflects the financial fiscal year-end fund balance for the school district as of June 30th, which is the last date of this school district's fiscal year. So if you look at the red line in 2018, as of June 30, 2018, the school district is projecting to have $13.2 million in its fund balance. What's important to remember about this number, and this is a number that you'll read about in the newspapers, because this is the number that is on the district's annual financial statements, is to think about how we pay property taxes in DuPage County. We pay property taxes in 2 installments during the year. Their first installment is due as of June 1st, and the second installment is due later as of September 1st. The money that we pay in as of June 1st gets paid to the school district during June each year. And that number is about $12 or $13 million of total tax receipts that come in June. So that red line reflects the receipt of those tax dollars, which are really intended to be spent by the school district in the following school year. So the yellow line is what the district tends to look at, which reflects what is the year-end balance without reflecting or without including the tax receipts that are received in June of each year that are intended for the next school year. And so you'll see that in June of 2018, the district is expecting to have $1.3 million of cash on hand, and then it goes down to almost zero the next year, and then in the negative positions in the following years. And then the purple line represents essentially the low cash balance at any point during the year that the school district has. So one of the important takeaways from this slide is, when you look at these 3 lines, is the focus on the yellow line, because that reflects the expenditures of the school district against the tax receipts for that fiscal year period. And you'll see that beginning in 2020, the school district is in a position where it has to start borrowing money from next year's tax receipts in order to pay last year's bills. And if you look at the purple line, which talks about the low cash balance, beginning in 2023, the district is not only borrowing money from next year to pay this year's bills, it needs to reach out to a third party to get debt financing in order to pay its bills. So why does District 89 have a deficit budget? Put simply, costs are outpacing revenues. Revenues are limited in terms of how much the district can receive in a year, principally based upon the CPI inflation index, whereas costs such as insurance, transportation, and others are going up at a faster rate. And then with the increasing enrollment the district is experiencing in the last few years, that requires additional teachers and other additional expenditures and makes that pace of expenditures grow even faster. So this issue around district structural finances has been an ongoing discussion within the district for the past 10 years. The school district has put together finance committees at two previous occasions in 2008 and 2011. At that time, the district had 5-year projections in 2011 showing the fund balances would be depleted by 2016. That 2011 period also was a period of a different situation in that the district had been experiencing declining enrollment for about 12 or 13 years in a row at that point in time, and it was not clear when enrollment may pick up. As a result, the Finance Committee explored different options and engaged with the community in various community forums and meetings that they had. The summary of those discussions was that the community asked for cuts and efficiencies that did not impact the classroom and did not conflict with district's core values. The result of all those discussions from 2011 was that during that period of 2009 and 2016, the district made up nearly $3 million in cuts and reductions. So if we look at where those cuts and reductions have occurred since 2009, important takeaway from this slide is that a number of these cuts and reductions were enabled by the declining enrollment the district had been experiencing, and which it continued to experience for another few years after 2011. What these cuts and reductions did was it slowed the rate of expenditure increase the district was realizing, such that it was able to postpone or push off, if you will, the potential deficit position that the district now faces as it looks out to 2020 and beyond. One of the major differences today than occurred back in 2008 and 2011 is enrollment is no longer declining. You can see from this slide that the district is funded by local property taxes. While the federal and state government provides a little bit of money to the total inflow of revenues to the district, the vast majority of the money comes from local funding sources via property taxes. The important thing to take away here as we look at total expenditures for the school district is that 74% of the expenditures go towards salaries and benefits. And even when you consider custodial and transportation contracts and the special education tuition, 88% of the total expenditures for the district are related to people costs. So despite the challenges the district has realized while it's been under this financial pressure over the last 8 or 10 years, what has happened from a quality perspective in the district is student achievement has actually increased in that time period. The district has been able to cut expenditures outside the classroom, at the same time continue to enable high achievement within the classroom and for our students. And so the challenge the district faces at this point in time is how does the district maintain and continue to enhance this high achievement for its students while addressing the structural financial challenges. So with that, I'll turn it over to Steve to talk further.
All right, thanks, Mike. And so next, we're going to explore some of the questions that you're probably asking that the Finance Committee explored throughout the process. The first one is, how do CCSD 89 property taxes compare to others? So when we compare ourselves to other Glenbard feeders districts, our tax rates are actually the lowest of all the districts that feed the Glenbard high schools. Is CCSD 89 financially efficient? This one is a telling chart because it compares us against those other districts and against the state as well. CCSD 89 has the lowest operational costs among all those Glenbard feeder districts, and it's also below the state average. The important part that's not on here is that the percentage going into the classroom of this total operational cost is the highest compared to these districts and state average. So the next question we asked, are we paying teachers too much? And the next couple charts, we'll take a look at the beginning salary of a teacher and a mid-level salary. And what you'll see in these charts is that our district is somewhere in the middle. It's not high, it's not low, but very comparable. And the next question we asked, can we operate with fewer teachers? And in order to investigate this, we compared our district against the other districts and the state. And what we found is class size was higher in our district. The next chart is another example of what we've changed since 2011. Since 2011, we have 174 more students, and we also have 6.2 fewer teachers. So the next chart, do we have too many administrators? We see that we have low administrative costs. We have one administrator per every approximately 220 students, which is the best out of all those districts, the feeder districts, and the state. Which means, conversely, to put it another way, is that we have the fewest administrators per student of any Glenbard district. So the next question we asked is, can we lower expenses by pooling our resources and our purchasing power with other districts? And what our district is currently doing is combining with other districts on insurance benefits, utilities, transportation, special education, office supplies, and legal services. And so, especially with a couple of our community members that were on the finance committee who do this for a living, we were convinced that the district has already done its due diligence in pooling its purchasing power with these other districts. The final two questions we asked are, would consolidation help our district, and are there other ways to raise funds? So some other options the Finance Committee considered were district consolidation and establishing a foundation for the district. District consolidation is not a short-term solution to a financial issue, and our natural partners, as we've seen, are not as fiscally efficient as our district, and so we were concerned that even a 3 to 5 year plan might result in higher costs overall. We also looked at establishing a foundation for our district, and when we looked at other school districts in the area, we found that even the large ones did not raise nearly enough money to make a significant impact on our immediate financial deficit. We also discussed the linkage between home value and quality schools, and what the research shows, common sense knows, is that your home value is tied directly towards good quality schools in the community. And so what the Finance Committee concluded was that the school district has been financially responsible, and it's still been able to maintain the high quality education. So when the Finance Committee members brought our conclusions to the school board decided that we cannot operate with a deficit budget. It further depletes our fund balance, and then ultimately requires issuing short-term debt against future tax revenues. It also negatively impacts the district's finance and bond ratings and results in a higher interest rate on borrowed money, which only makes the problem worse. The Finance Committee presented to the school board two options. The first, option A, is to increase revenues to maintain the comprehensive high-quality education programming our district currently enjoys. It avoids cuts to programs that directly impact students, which is not consistent with our district's strategic plan. The other option, option B, is to reduce programs and increase fees. This is a reduction in totaling about $1.2 million in 2019, and it includes, but is not limited to, increased class sizes, full-day kindergarten reduction back to half-day, and some other programs like band orchestra, gifted program, social work services. An important point on this chart is to note that after 3 years, the district will have to consider additional cuts because of the expected cost growth that we're going to experience in the next few years. So the board recommended that we expand the discussion about what the community values from the school district. Ultimately, the school district is owned by the community, and so we need everybody's input about what they value for it. We have upcoming meetings in June, and then in July we report our findings to the board, and the board makes a decision in August.
So I invite you all to come to our meetings in June. The dates are on the screen, and you can get further information about the meetings at the website at the address presented here on the screen. This is your opportunity to provide your input. We look forward to hearing from you and hope to see you at our June meetings. Thank you for listening to our presentation and for being part of this conversation.